A displacement map determines the amount and the direction of movement of the pixel on the image. Today we will see how it works. Let me just clarify, guys, this is not my technique. I found about it on the internet. A lot of websites talk about it. My name is Redouane and you are tuned to photomanipulation.com. If you are new here, welcome. We are not your typical Photoshop channel who specialize in photo manipulation, digital art, and advanced Photoshop techniques. If that sounds like your kind of thing, be sure to like and subscribe as we put out new videos every weekday. It's free, easy, and really supports the channel. Let's roll the video. Enjoy. So today, guys, we will add a water displacement map on these two images right here. All the links are going to be in the description down below. So first, let's explain how the displacement map works. There's two types of the displacement map. There's the simple map and the compound map. The simple map is a grayscale map and it will determine the amount and direction of movement of the pixels in your targeted image by the light and the dark values. The light values will move the pixels up to the left by the value of 128 pixels. The dark values will move the pixels to the down right by 128 pixels. This is all you need to know about the simple map. And the compound map will use the color channels, which you can find here, the red and the green channel. So in the red channel, the light areas will move the pixels to the left and the dark areas will move the pixels to the right. On the green channel, the light areas will move the pixels up and the dark areas will move the pixels down. About the blue channel, you won't need it anyway because it will not affect the pixels. When you are saving a displacement map, you need to save it as a BSD file. Make sure it's on BSD, and when you hit save, make sure to check the maximize compatibility and hit OK. Before saving, make sure that the compound map, if you are working on a compound map, that the mode is set to RGB color. If you are working with the simple map, make sure the mode is set to the grayscale before saving. Now with that out of the way, let's try and make a water displacement map for these two images right here, using both simple map and the compound map. Let's do it. Right now I added a new document with the size of 1000 on the width and 2000 on the height. First, let's try and make the water displacement using the simple map. So as I said before, the light areas and the black areas will affect the amount of the movement of the pixels on the targeted image. And to make a water displacement map, we need a lot of the black and white dots on the map, and instead of adding every dot by its own, let's just add a noise texture. Make sure that the colors are on default, black on the foreground and the white on the background. Adding a noise texture, the amount should be on 400 and the distribution should be on Gaussian, and check the monochromatic. After that, go to filter, blur, and add Gaussian blur with a radius of 2.0 pixels. Now let's go to filter, stylize, and let's add emboss. What emboss going to do is it's going to add this bump effect on our noise texture, and as you can see, it's adding the lights according to your direction right here on the angle. Why we need the emboss effect? Because look how it's adding the white areas and the black areas as a map, as a bump height map, and we need that. You can use the generate bump height map, but let's just go for the emboss. Make sure the height is 1 pixel and the amount is on 500% and click OK. Make sure the angle is on 19 as well and let's hit OK. And you know how the texture of the water goes, so we are going to click on Ctrl T and then click on the right mouse button and shows perspective, and let's drag this from the bottom till we get a texture that looks like a water. Let's select the canvas by clicking on Ctrl A. Let's go to the image and crop it, and let's do it again till we get a texture that looks like a water. I think that looks okay. Okay, so after that I'm going to go to the image and I'm going to change the height. Make sure you are not connecting them, and let's set it to 1000. Now we got a map that looks like a water, but if you go here, that map on the up area looks masked. So what we are going to do is select a 50% gray on the brightness and make sure all of these, the hue and saturation are on 0. Then select gradient and select the transparent one. Let's go up here and select from this area and drag it down just to hide that area right here because we don't need it. That's how a water texture look like. Let's go to the image and change the mode to grayscale. Just hit discard and make sure we are on the grayscale, and then let's save it as a simple displacement map and hit OK. Hit save and make sure to check the maximize compatibility. So okay, so now we made the simple displacement map. Now let's go and make the compound one. Okay, so I made a new document and this time I'm going to make it a compound displacement map using the color channels. Let's go to the image and make sure you are on RGB color mode, and let's do the same steps. Let's add a noise texture on the same values as we did before, the amount for 400, and distribution on Gaussian and monochromatic. And let's do the blur again by the radius of 2.0 pixels. But this time we are going to use the color channels, so let's go to the channel. And remember, we said before on the red color, it will affect the pixels by moving them to the right and the left side. So we are going to add the emboss filter, but this time we are going to change the angle, because as we said before, the angle now it's going to vertically and we need it to be horizontal, because it will affect our pixels on the left and the right direction. So let's put the value of 180 degree, because 180 degree is affecting it from the sides, and as we said before, the red channel will affect the sides, not up and down, left and right. Let's keep the height and amount as they are, and let's hit OK. Let's go to the green channel and do the emboss again, but this time we are going to change it to 90 degree, because in the green channel it will affect our pixels up and down. So these bright areas right here, as you can see in the preview, the white areas will move the pixels on our image up, and the black pixels right here will move it down, and the gray will stay as it is. It will not affect the image at all, or the pixels. Let's hit OK. Make sure it's on 1 pixels and 500% and click OK. For the blue channel, we are going to fill it with black. Click on Shift F5 and let's fill it with black, because we are not going to need it. And let's go back to RGB layers and let's do the same steps. we are going to click on Ctrl T and we are going to hit perspective and drag it till we reach 600 on the width here. Let's click Ctrl A to select the canvas and go to the image and crop it, and then click Shift Ctrl T to do the transition again. Now let's go to the image size and let's change the height to 1000. Okay, now we have the water displacement map, but before we save it, let's go to the channels and the red channel, and what we are going to do here is select the gradient as we did before for the simple one, but this time we are going to apply it on channels right here on the red and the green, because we don't want our images to start being affected by the water movement immediately. We need this nice transition between the soft reflection and the harsh reflection. 50% grayscale. Now that we are on the red channel, make sure to select it from here and let's drag it all the way down, maybe here, and then let's go to the green channel and just select it from there, because we can see the texture starting here. So let's drag it just up there, and the areas that we are filling with the 50% gray shade will not affect the pixels on our images. Now our texture is ready. Let's save it as a compound displacement map. Hit save. Okay, now that we got our displacement maps ready, let's start making the water displacement. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to decide what areas I need the water to be on. So I'm going to select it like that. This is where my water is going to be, and I'm going to duplicate the image and add a mask from selection by clicking on this icon. Let's remove the connection between the mask and the image, and I'm going to move the images, but as you can see our images here have perspective, so we are going to select this one first and move it upside down vertically, and we are going to do it like that. And then we are going to select the other area and let's flip it vertical. And then let's select the areas between. And do the same. So this is just an example. I'm going to fix it here. You can take your time to make it perfect. I have no time for that. So now that we get our reflection, we are going to name this layer reflection. I'm going to select the mask and select a dark color on our original image, and while our mask is selected, I'm going to add a new layer and I'm going to paint the color here as if it was the color of the ground under the water. Let's go back to the mask on the reflection, and with the gradient tool, the transparent, make sure the opacity is on 100% and the color is black, and let's move it up just a little bit So before we do anything else, I'm going to delete the mask, and I'm going to select this mask right here, and I'm going to apply it first. I forgot to apply my mask on the reflection layer. Be sure to apply it, and I'm going to add the mask again, and I'm going to do the same steps. Okay, now I'm going to lock my layer and add a motion blur, and the reason why I locked it, because if I added the motion blur without the lock, the motions will get out of the render right here, and we don't want that. So let's add a motion blur till we get this. You know how the water affect the objects and the environment around it. It will add this motion blur to it, as if it was like a mirror effect. And then I'm going to deselect the lock, and I'm going to reconnect the image with the mask. So select the mask, and we are going to filter, distort, and add the displace. Now we got this menu right here. We don't need to worry about the displacement map options right here, because you can play with this as we don't have a preview, and choose whatever gets you the better results. On the regular basis, the rebate edge pixels and the stretch to fit are the best, will get you the best results in general in most cases. What we don't have to worry about is the horizontal scale and the vertical scale. So as you remember before, we said the lights and the dark values on our displacement map will affect the pixels by 128 pixels. The horizontal scale and the vertical scale will change that. So if you want to affect it by 128 pixels, you will have to have them on 100. And if we have them on 50, the 128 will be split to half, and it will be 64 pixels effect. And if it's on 10, it will affect the image on, it will affect the movement of the pixels by 12.4. So if you want to have the full 128 pixels effect, you will have them on 100. So I'm going to, in most cases, and if you want to add the water reflection, you will have the horizontal scale as the half of the vertical scale. So if you have the vertical scale on 50, the horizontal will be on 25. If we have the vertical on 100, the horizontal will be on 50. So you got the idea. Let's try 50, 25. And click OK, and he will ask you to add the displacement maps, the BSD displacement map you made. First, let's try the simple displacement map, the grayscale one, and this is the effect that it added to our image. That's a nice water reflection. It's added by the grayscale one, and every time you change the values right here, let's have them on 500, and this one is on 999, because you can't go above that, unfortunately. This is the maximum value that you can add to both scales right here. And let's choose the simple displacement map again, and as you can see, the effects will be stronger. Now let's go and try the compound displacement map. And as you can see, it's added the same effects. They are not too different. You might feel the difference in the directions. Let's try and make it stronger. and this is the effect that you are going to get. This is a very nice result, as you can see. Now let's go and try it on this image. Let's add the mask and let's flip it on the vertical line. And let's apply the mask this time, let's not forget. And then let's choose this. Let's choose a dark color from the trees. Let's add it underneath the reflection layer. And then let's add the mask again and let's drag it like that. And then let's add the motion blur. Then let's select the mask and let's go back to the image and let's make it 150 on the horizontal, and let's select the compound displacement map, and this is the effect that it has on this image. And as you can see here, the water movement is not affecting that part of the reflection because we added the 50% gray gradient on there. Let's go and try it with the symbol one. And notice how it's moving up and down to the sides. The symbol one here had better effects on the water reflection. Okay, so this is our lesson on how to add the water displacement by using the displacement map. Let me guys remind you that my course is coming soon, that I'm working on the digital landscape course. If you want to know how I make my works and you are interested to know the techniques and all of that, make sure to get it. I will see you guys in the next lessons. Bye.